set? Good afternoon. Welcome to the City of Urbana Arts and Culture Commission meeting on Tuesday, March 12th, 2024 at 4:30 p.m. in City Hall. Our first item on the agenda is a call to order and roll call.
Barbara Hedlund,
Present.
Sarah Buckman,
Present.
Alicia Rodriguez,
Present.
Mark Anthony Macon,
Present.
Abby Harris,
Present.
Xander Hazel.
Present.
The next item on the agenda today is the approval of minutes of previous meetings from February 13th, 2024.
Motion to approve
Thank you.
minutes
second
for
that.
February.
All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion has passed. Thank you all. We have an addition to the agenda today, a discussion of murals on glass art selection.
Yes, 40 North will be showing us the finalists for the Murals on Glass selection, and they will have a recommendation for you all to vote on the awarded pieces for 2 different locations of mural on glass in downtown Urbana.
Nice, thank you. Look forward to that. Do we have any public input today? Either, obviously not in person, but did anyone write in anything?
No public input.
Thank you. So the next item on the agenda today are presentations. We have a grant presentation from the Urbana Arts Grant 2023 for the Urbana Park District, and Savannah Donovan is here to represent the Park District. Welcome.
Welcome.
Is okay. Well, thank you. Okay, is that better?
Yes.
All right. So, this was the first time that I have received a grant from the Urbana Arts and Culture Commission, but of course the Urbana Park District has worked with you all quite a bit, so thank you so much for your continued support. And I am the environmental program manager, and it's so nice to be able to incorporate the arts into the things that we do with nature and environmental education. And so on the far left of this slide, you can see the tree as it was when it was a standing dead tree, also called a tree snag. And then in the center, there is the artist, Bill Baker, actively carving the piece. And on the far right, that is the final piece that is at the Friendship Grove Nature Playscape next to the Anita Purvis Nature Center. So we use the grant funds to pay for Bill Baker's artist fees, and here he is on site creating the piece. The location was a little bit of a challenge, but the Park District did some clearing work beforehand so that we could make this area more accessible for the work to be done. There was a set of 3 of these large oak trees, several hundred years old, each of them. And we love to teach about nature education, right? And a dead tree is sort of part of a cycle of life, right? So this sculpture is really interpreting that life cycle of a tree. While it was being created, we had Nature Day Camp going on concurrently. So there's a little person pictured here. There were hundreds of kids who got to witness the sculpture creation as it happened in real time throughout a 4-day period last summer. For marketing of the unveiling, we did a boosted Facebook event. We also paired our promotion with other activities going on for Take a Child Outside Week. In addition to another of the Urbana Arts Grant recipients, Chris Hughes, who had received a grant for this collage that's pictured here, This was a community collaborative collage. The Park District partnered with Chris to help obtain all of these items. And so we did this all as one large batch event, which we felt was a really nice way to integrate arts and nature together. We did lots of targeted invitations, making sure that people who already come to our programs, who already use the space, were invited. But additionally, we don't always see a lot of engagement from the people in the neighborhood of the Nature Center, so we hand-delivered flyers to all of the homes in the area of the Nature Center, and of course shared the information with the school district as well. Our promotions were done in 3 languages, English, French, and Spanish. We called the overall grand opening event Uniting People, Art, and Nature. There was always a focus on inclusion, and we did get a fairly diverse crowd that day. So as I mentioned, the funds from the grant provided the entire payment for the artist for his services, as well as a stipend for him to be able to stay in a hotel while he visited. And then the Urbana Park District, we paid for staff time, advertising, but as far as like supplies and materials, we purchased a bunch of supplies for people to be able to try out wood carving and other nature art-related activities. Additionally, this person who's pictured here, his name is Dustin Kelly. He's been working with us on several programs where we can use invasive bush honeysuckle to create art. So at this event, we sort of formed that first partnership. So that's his station there. And then just a few pictures of the different kinds of wood art making that was going on. We had a lot of beads. We were making structures. There's a young person on the ground here who worked very hard on creating some stick structures. The photo on the right is carving. So we bought carving tools and balsa wood, basswood, and kind of gave people some brief instruction on how to do that. At our unveiling event, we had about 150 attendees, a nice diverse crowd, diverse in age, ethnicity, kind of coming from all over Urbana. And then in addition to the main event, as I said, we had about 250 kids at Nature Day Camp watching the tree carving as it happened. And then when we take into account general visitation, we've had, at least 1,000 visitors to this space since this sculpture was created. So overall, as I said, we've been able to form some new partnerships. This is the first time we've worked with a chainsaw artist. Here pictured again is Dustin Kelly doing some honeysuckle crafting. So we now have 2 additional opportunities where we're working with Dustin to do some nature art with honeysuckle. So he'll be at our Earth Day event, and then he's doing another program with us this fall. So that connection was really wonderful. We were able to show a whole set of young people some kind of traditional wood carving skills and things that kids might not be doing these days. And of course, just the piece itself is a really wonderful and welcoming addition to our playscape experience. Do you all have any questions?
Where does Bill Baker reside? Where does he come from?
I want to say Naperville. I know it's a suburb of Chicago.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I guess I just wanted to add that this is such a great example of having a guest artist come in and be a part of the community, but then also kind of leaving their mark with just something really beautiful that people can visit. And I think that's really great that was an opportunity that the grants could help out with.
Yeah.
Very similar to what we did with the murals last year. It was a great success. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For coming and sharing that with us.
Absolutely.
I'll have to go and
I
see it in
appreciate your
person.
time. Yes,
Has
please
anybody
do
here
come and
seen it
visit us.
yet in person?
It's stunning. It's really
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. Thank you.
A great job.
Thank you.
Sure.
I'm going to let Sarah make the introduction of our next guest.
And we would love to introduce our newest poet laureate, Ruby Mendenhall. We're really excited about all of the work that you have planned, and we'd love to invite you to share a poem or introduce yourself to the commission. So thanks so much for being here.
Welcome.
Or maybe it's on still.
Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, thank you very much for selecting me as the 2024 Poet Laureate. I am very grateful, and in many ways, it's the fulfillment, or maybe the start of fulfillment of a dream since high school. I've always wanted to kind of embark into the world of poetry, and I've been writing since almost second grade. So by way of introduction, my name is Ruby Mendenhall, as was said, and I'm faculty in sociology and African American studies at the University of Illinois. And then I'm also the Associate Dean for Diversity and Democratization of Health Innovation at the Carroll Illinois College of Medicine. And basically, I talk about that as trying to make sure that what's happening in the College of Medicine reaches our community, but then also have the community inside of the College of Medicine driving some of the innovations around health and wellness. And what I'm proposing, I hope will be a part of that. One of the things is a book of poetry that's actually intergenerational that will, I do a lot of work with young people and in fact training them as my team as community health workers and citizen community scientists. So that's one way that we try to have them inside of the College of Medicine. And then also working with seniors, so kind of having a span of generations in the book of poetry that we hope to have published by press. And then also, I recently met someone, Diane Kaufman, who's a retired pediatric psychiatrist. And she also writes poetry, but she turns them into like animated movies, into art, and then she also did an opera with her poems, and I was like, ooh, so hopefully to introduce some of that as well. Any questions before I'm happy to read a poem?
Congratulations and welcome. I was wondering, given your background, how do you incorporate your poetry with health and wellness with the populations that you work with?
Yeah, so I'll give you an example. So I do work on kind of how living in neighborhoods with high levels of gun violence affects Black mothers' mental and physical health. We're also in the process of working on a documentary called What's Left Behind. Lisa Butler is the co-director and co-producer, and it was her idea. She worked with me on a study to interview almost 100 Black women in Chicago, just kind of asking them, how are you managing? What is it like? What do you need to be healthy? What do you need to be well? And so, in fact, we've taken some of their suggestions and have started creating like a wellness store. I don't know if you all have been in the Spurlock Museum yet, but that Black Joy exhibit, which has photos, and then it also has a wellness store with different tools that support health and wellness. All of that grew out of this work with about 100 mothers in Chicago. And then Lisa Butler, we actually interviewed some mothers who lost their children to gun violence, and so Lisa Butler wanted to do a documentary about the topic. So as I was, we're hoping to have it come out in April, okay, maybe May and June. And as I was looking at some of the clips, it was so overwhelming, right, to kind of hear their anger, to understand anguish and anger, and to understand just the level of physical pain that they're in. Some of the mothers talked about feeling like their stomach has been ripped out. Some of them talked about just kind of like intense pain in different parts of their bodies. And then one mother, several of them talked about like the hardest part. They would say the hardest part, and sometimes it was, at the funeral or other things. So then I wrote a poem kind of about that, and we'll try to incorporate it in some ways into the documentary. We're also planning to do a soundtrack, and so we have students, some of the community health workers actually from Chicago. They wrote a song that will be in there, and some of the lyrics talked about you don't even know, just kind of talking about the level of pain. And also from the siblings, right? Because a lot of times the siblings experience it, but the attention isn't on them. And then sometimes the parent is in so much grief that it's hard for the child to kind of talk to them as well. So those are some of the ways that we try to incorporate it. And then one more is that with the soundtrack, we hope to create a dance. And so working with Alice Gibson and Dr. Cynthia Oliver and other students here, trying to think about dances that kind of take trauma out of the body, that creates calmness and kind of like bilateral movements, having 60 beats a minute, music like that. So really kind of thinking about putting that into the general culture, and as people move and dance, so they're also getting the physical activity, but also hopefully it's working in their nervous systems to make them well. And of course, also hoping to turn some of the poetry into some of those songs as well. So that's all the stuff.
Sounds wonderful. He's a former member of this commission.
Good, yes, yes. Looking forward. So the BNAC, they're having their end of the year barbecue. So May 1st is when we're going to try to debut the dance.
And that will be where?
At the Bruce Nesbitt Center on Nevada. And I don't remember the exact address.
Could you tell us a bit about what you have planned for your reception at Gallery on Friday?
Yeah, so planning, again, kind of intergenerational poets. There's a student from Central High School that is planning to be there. I think maybe two of the former poet laureates. One of them can't make it. DJ Silky will be playing music. And I've asked her like reggae music. So also part of what we're trying to do around health and wellness is develop smart, affordable, small healing homes and have different aspects of health and wellness. So just as the smartphones used to be 2 blocks of computers, but now we have that technology concentrated in our hands. So thinking about how can we create homes that are healing. So one thing we'd like to do is to be able to have virtual reality walls where you can literally be anywhere that you want. And whenever I give the presentation, I say in my house it would be Jamaica with the beach and the waves. And so we're actually going to be able to project some of those images. So I'm really excited that I'll have a sense of that experience there. And then also Clerk Aaron Amos is also going to be there, and some others. And I was putting the list together. And it'll be more wonderful speakers, but that's kind of what we're doing. So also some poetry, some dancing, and then I'm also doing some art projects, which I never really considered myself an artist, but lately I've been doing some art. So just kind of putting that on display as well.
Well, if you'd like, we can do a poem or two. If you'd like to use either, you can totally stay there. If you feel more comfortable with a stand mic, you're more than welcome to use that also. But I think that the floor is yours still.
Okay, love it. Thank you. So I have 2, and the first one is short. The second one is a little longer. And this one, so I talked about, I think this is my season of like being creative. So I was watching a documentary about B.B. King, and he was talking about his guitar, Lucille. And I was like, man, that's so cool. I mean, just all the experiences with Lucille, and including he was in a car accident, and he said the car was on top of Lucille, and that kind of saved the pressure put on him. And so I actually bought a guitar, and I had my son teaching me how to play. So this one is just kind of about Lucille and some of the things that he was saying. And it says, B.B. King plucking on his guitar, playing Lucille is Blue. He kissed her on the mouth and said his love was forever true. Lucille saved his life as his car crashed and rolled over and over, taking the pressure from his truck. She was his lover and savior. Like Arkansas heat with flames leaping high into the sky. Lucille starting fights and burning down hearts late into the night. And then the second one is, and again, this one is around kind of health and wellness, right? So kind of thinking about those times when life is really hard and you're trying to pull yourself out of that darkness. And so it's called Two Sides of the Self. And says, when I am the storm uprooting trees, you are the rainbow promising a sense of peace. When I am the dry earth, scorched and unproductive, you are a stream of water quenching all who thirst. When I am the dancer bound by culture, you are the ribbon cutter that unfolds me. When I am silenced and afraid for my life, you are a shield of protection, deflecting harm. When I sit with head bowed low, you are the music of life, rhythmic and bold. When I am alone in the quiet and dark of night, you are a soft whisper that holds me, saying, it's all right. When I am dissolving inside the cocoon, you are Rumi's ray of light entering the wound. When I am taking flight with broken wings, you are the beautiful voice that always sings. When I am timid and unsure of my next move, you are the wild dancer finding and enjoying your groove. When I am a daughter whose father has passed, you are the manifestation of his spirit inside the looking glass. When I am a mother loving Black boys as they become men, you are the wise one letting them go into the beauty of the wind. Thank you. And again, that one, and I think it's for a lot of people, right? Like a lot of the things that you seek, they're really in yourself, right? Like you kind of have that inner strength, and I think that's something also that the mothers that I work with talked about, because I said, well, how do you make it? How do you manage? And they talked about coming in from the community, going into their homes, into the bedrooms, into the bathrooms, into the shower, and kind of getting quiet, and then talking to themselves and kind of gathering their strength to continue. So I think it's inspired by the mothers.
Have periods where you write every day, or does it come to you suddenly when something inspires you, or how does your process work?
Yeah, it really is a mixture. Generally, I write when I'm very happy or very sad, right? It's kind of like a way to express what's happening. Like when I was reviewing the documentary, I think I wrote like maybe about 10 poems, right? Kind of just kind of letting the emotions process and come up. And then definitely inspiration. I talked on another show about one time I was in New York, and I was on a subway, and a father was with his daughter, and it was so beautiful, the tenderness, and I was like, oh man, I wish I was an artist then, right? Like I could write it. Then I was like, okay, but you're a poet, right? Like you can write about it. So that was another way that it was inspired. And even I love, what I love doing is sometimes when I'm listening to music or other things, and they have two words that you don't normally put together. So I have a list of about 100 words that you don't really think about putting together. So also just music and other things, it just comes.
Anyone else have any comments or questions?
Thank you so much. And just as a reminder, it's on the screen here, but this Friday from 6 to 8, will be at Gallery Art Bar. We're super excited, and I hope that everyone here can make it and show some support.
Yes, I love to see you all. I love to see. And again, dancing. Do you all like to dance?
Used to.
Okay, good. So joy, right? So part of the exhibit is joy. So I'm sure it'll be a very joyous event. And again, thank you both for Sarah, and also thank you for Vivian for helping me to set it up. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
So much, Ruby.
Next, we have our monthly staff report. Vivian Krishnan.
Good evening, everyone. Super excited to have Ruby join us on board as the Poet Laureate. And just as a reminder, the Poet Laureate is a grant, one of the grants that we have. So that is really great. And this year we're not doing the Youth Poet Laureate, but we'll be looking into how that might be incorporated in the future. Just moving on with some updates. The Urbana Arts Grants application portal has been closed. We've gotten a ton of applicants in, and the jury will be working away at looking at applications and going through those with recommendations for awarded grants. So next month's meeting on April 9th, the jury will have recommendations for us to look at, and you all will be able to make those final votes on selected grants. Just going down the list of other programming updates, Young Artist Studio is happening March 23rd. This is the spring event for Young Artist Studio. We are doing still life watercolor painting. This program occurs 3 to 4 p.m. in the auditorium at the Urbana Free Library and is free. It is designed for kids 5 years to 11 years old. And we'll be going over the basics of painting from life and creating a colorful spring painting to bring home. So if you know of any kids or family members with children who might be interested, it's going to be a really good time and a good way to just kickstart spring. Another big update I wanted to share with you is that Champaign County has the forces of Champaign County have come together to create a new program, which is Maker in Residence. And this is a collaboration between the Urbana Free Library, the CU Community Fab Lab, Granger Idea Lab, Arts and Culture, and the IMC. It's a really exciting program where 3 makers are going to be selected. These are local makers, and they will be awarded either 2 to 6 weeks in residency where they can have studio space at either the CU Fab Lab, the Urbana Free Library, or the Idea Lab. I think possibly the IMC as well. Each artist is being awarded $1,500 as a stipend, and material costs for their work as well as programming will be covered. This was a grant that we got, and basically is giving us the opportunity to create a residency for 3 different artists this year. So this is something that is open. The application will be closing March 24th. So this is great if you know any local makers who might be interested in sort of a residency where they don't have to travel or anything like that. It's happening right here in town, and it's a great way to get involved with a community if you're a maker, and also use some of the resources that we have here in town. So that's really exciting. So definitely spread the word if you can.
Just a question about that one. Is this a program that will be coming back every year? Is there funding for some sustainability
I think the
there?
funding is just for this year,
Okay.
but I believe that this is something that the community is really wanting to be consistent programming. It's really exciting to have a residency that's for makers and not necessarily artists, so it could be a little bit more broad. But yeah, because it was a grant, I think we'll have to see just where the funding comes from in future years, but it's definitely going to be a test run because this is the first year.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Just another sort of reminder that the Market Mural Call for Artists is still open until March 30th. We've got a lot of applicants that have submitted their portfolios, and we'd love to see more. Yeah, so due date is the 30th. Okay, so that is all I have as Urbana Arts and Culture staff, and now I would like to bring Kelly. She's going to give us a staff report for 40 North. What? Oh wait, not a staff report.
mean
but you
postmark?
have your.
Is discussing postmark and
Yes.
murals and, yeah.
Okay, I apologize. This is not a full
there-
update.
you
This
look
is
like your shirt.
simply
What?
this is simply our Murals on Glass program. Okay.
The visuals help a lot, right? You've really been doing a great job with all the postmark activities. Thank you for doing all that.
It's been really good.
I loved how you guys worked with the different student groups and grades to make art for this last
Yeah, that
postmark.
was
That was
so
so well
fun.
done.
Yeah, the themes were kind of doing some overarching themes. So doing the youth theme was so great. And I don't know if you saw any of that art. I loved it.
Do you want to talk about the Eric Show too, since it's coming up?
Well, it's up right now.
Oh, I mean, just
Yeah.
let everybody know it's still up. And
Yeah, so Eric Show is, it's the 15th year. It's a local area high school art show that we coordinate. It's got about 200 pieces of art in it. We had the reception on Wednesday, but it's in the Illini Union Gallery on campus. So actually this week would be a good time to go visit it because it's spring break. So might be able to get some parking and such. But it's a gorgeous show. Every kind of style, every kind of concept. I mean, the high schoolers, I told somebody, a reporter or something, that it's a very direct reflection of what we're dealing with within the world, what the high schoolers are doing. And they're dealing with some really challenging and dark material that I did not deal with when I was drawing in high school, but it's really impressive, the kind of concepts and things that they're expressing. So take a look. It's very inspiring. So.
Illini Union.
So if you walk in the front of the Union, like if you're on Green Street and you walk in the front, take a right, and it's all over in the very front corner of the Union.
Northwest.
It's a
corner of the
beautiful
building.
gallery, yeah.
This just, how do you want to do that?
Do we just open it here, or you want to move it to your desktop?
Is this the only one we're going to open?
Yeah.
Then we can just open it.
Want me to roll?
Yeah.
Okay. So Murals on Glass, a program that you all have had for quite a long time. And so obviously when we entered into our agreement, we wanted to help with this program. And so we did a call for art. And I think we worked on replacing 2 of the current Murals on Glass. Obviously there's several throughout Urbana. This building has them, the Phillips Center, obviously downtown has some, the Cunningham Township, there's several different locations. But the one on the building, the parking deck, is the very first one, which I believe was from 2010 or 2011. It's been up for a while, and it's got Abe there. And so we wanted to start with 2 of the oldest ones to replace. So you can see there, we are looking for images for the parking deck and then also the windows there on Main Street, the previous location for the UBA. I think city stuff is in there now, I don't quite know. So we got a lot of submissions for this, over 60 or 70, I believe. And so we narrowed it down. We did a jury and we narrowed it down to a few for you all to select from. And what I went ahead and did is I mocked them up. So I'm going to show you the image, but then show it to you mocked up on the window, because it does make a little bit of a difference to kind of see it in place. And obviously, they both have very high visibility, and then obviously the black bars show through. But yeah, so we can just kind of go through them.
Yeah, so basically I think what we should do is go through these. We can kind of just go through the images, and what I would like for you all to do is discuss separately, like together, discuss about number 1, then discuss about number 2, and then after your discussion is complete, we can make a motion together for both of them, if someone wants to make a motion, or we could do one at a time, kind of up to you all. But we can definitely, don't be afraid to talk about what you're thinking, how you're feeling. The discussion is totally up for you to do that.
Okay. So this is your first image, so I'm just going to show you the full image that was submitted, and then I will show it to you mocked up on the buildings. So about 4 of these are for the parking deck, and 3 of them, kind of 3.5, are on the UBA windows. So here you can see this is it mocked up in the place on the parking deck.
Is that a Barry Callahan?
Yep. And then here is the second piece. And here it's mocked up. Any questions, let us know. Here is the third piece. And here it is mocked up. And then this is the fourth piece. And here it is mocked up. So did you want them to discuss this first, or do you want me to go you through the second one?
I think it might be easier
Okay.
to do that.
Any thoughts?
We can discuss this one and then also move on to the next one, discuss it, and then if you want to vote, that could work too.
These are only for the parking deck right now.
That's it.
Yes.
We need to see them again, just to be sure?
And there are 4 other ones for the other location?
Three.
3?
Three-ish. I'll
Okay.
explain why that's three-ish, but 3 mostly.
Are there any stories involved with these? Not that you're giving away the artist's name or anything, or is there any particular history about these images that we should be aware of?
Or maybe the style of, I mean, these are all graphics, like graphic design, or are these photos
This
of
is
paintings?
multimedia. This one is acrylic paint.
What kind of paint? Sorry?
Acrylic paint.
Acrylic paint?
This is, I believe it's hand-drawn and then digital color. And then this is watercolor.
What is the lifespan of some of these materials? Because after they've been up for a while, they have the potential to fade from the sun and the
Well,
elements?
I mean, with the printing now, I mean, they go 10, 15 years, no problem.
Okay. that's
They've
good to know.
really improved the light fastness and the durability of this printing. It's amazing how long it will last.
Huh.
I mean, Abe, he's a little faded, but he still looks okay, and he's been up there a long time.
Go backwards too. Yeah, open up to discussion.
Any way to see all 4 of them together?
I didn't do that, Barbara. I'm sorry. Whoopsie, whoopsie.
Yeah, personally, I feel like the acrylic painting with the squares, I feel like the frames of the window does it a disservice.
Pattern on pattern,
I
yeah.
do think that if there's ever, I mean, I feel like this would be a good one for a utility box mural if that were to come back again.
Which we did find several, so a lot of artists are going to be encouraged to apply for the utility boxes, because a lot of the images we found would work great for that as well. So.
Wonderful. I think personally, I would be leaning towards 4 and 3.
That one and that one.
I think I'm leaning towards 1 or 3.
I like 3 and 4. I'm trying to think of what my kids would like, and those are the ones I think my kids would gravitate towards, especially with all the color with number 3.
I like the movement in 4. I also do like 3, but I also like the balance of 1. So, what's the second one? The second one, yeah, I agree with Xander on the placement for the squares.
Mm-hmm.
Color's nice. The color scheme isn't bad.
Yeah.
Well, 4's come up the most, I think. Barbara, do you have thoughts?
I'm still debating. I do like that one, but it's similar to some that we've had before in some ways because of the plants, even the one up above City Hall here, for example, with the hostas. 3 might have a lot of impact. Although I do like the colors of 2 and 3, but I understand what he's saying about the blockish.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of busy. Either one of you have a preference? You're not allowed to tell.
I do, but I'm not going to say. I love them all. I do think, some of the things you have to consider is, which is we even considered the first round, is this is obviously a very high traffic area. It's sometimes the first thing people see as they enter downtown. So I think it does need to be colorful. I think it needs to be inviting. It needs to make, it has to be vibrant, uplifting, things like that, which is kind of what you all have already talked about. So I think it's going to be up for a while. So it's also something that, kind of want to be okay with it being seen there for a while.
Well, since you said that, I said 3 and 4. I'm going to do just 3 as my top choice.
Okay. It would certainly keep people looking, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It does have like a narrative to it a little bit where I think people will keep looking at it. And I also think, I don't know who pointed that out. Did you point out? I think maybe you did. Kids, I think I think they also would love looking at 3 or 4. I think they have a quality about them I think kids would enjoy as well. Do you need it to be unanimous, Viv?
That someone needs to also, we could look at the next one first. Before we move on to that, we could discuss the next one. This would be the other window. Oh,
It's not on the parking deck. It's
Just down the street,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
We'll
Around the
probably
corner.
see both of them at around the same time.
Yeah,
They
and
kind of should maybe play with each other. in
Maybe
some way.
complement each other.
That's
Yeah.
possible,
we can
yeah.
go through that for number 2, window number 2, and then we can circle back around. How does that sound?
So some of these, when I did mock-ups, obviously, things don't fit perfectly, so,
Back to the,
no, it's okay.
okay.
So then you can see this has 3
Panels.
very specific Urbana highlighted spots. And so then when I mocked it up, kind of put them into the 3 different windows.
Mm-hmm.
And then this artist specifically treated it like a triptych, very specifically for those windows. And so it would fit directly in, and instead of one piece that goes into the windows, they treated it as a triptych even when they submitted. And then this is the piece, this is where I said it's 3-ish, because basically it's a pretty wide painting. So what I did is I mocked it up on both ends. So this would be where the the dark outlined figure shows, and then the next image is part of the left-hand painting. So I personally think this is a stronger one, but I wanted to mock it up both because it is a pretty wide painting that I wanted to give you the option.
Your piano keyboard?
That's what it looks
That's
like.
my 3.5.
The
So it's the
the
same
vertical
artist for
one.
the
Yeah,
3 and 3.5. And this is it's hard to understand what this actually is. So this is automotive paint as well as different colored plexi that is applied to a surface, and then light is shined from above, creating those shadows. So it's a interesting medium and would possibly create some interesting 3D effect on the glass. Because light is one of the really important components of the piece. And then this is acrylic paint. And then the last one is mixed media. And then, you know, obviously if there's questions, I could also, if we don't want to finalize it tonight, I could mock up the ones from the first window onto this window. I didn't do that, but obviously it could be mocked up that way as well.
Would anybody want to see this one up on these on the parking garage? Do we have the option of switching them if we wanted to?
I could make them fit. They didn't really submit, when they submitted to Murals on Glass, they didn't submit to a specific one. They just submitted to the program knowing those are the two different kinds of windows we were going to be dealing with. But it wasn't like they submitted to just one window. Yeah.
The jury process, I think, kind of was
Proportions.
proportions
Uh-huh.
and whatnot, so. Definitely feel free to shout out your thoughts.
Or reaching for her
I
mic?
think 2 is interesting. It kind of reminds me of stained glass.
Same.
I think it's kind of a unique design, and I like that the 3 pillars coordinate really well. I could see all 3 of them. I'm less of a fan of 3 just because the outline. I don't know. I think I like 2 the most.
I do too.
It is unusual. I think it's interesting, yeah. We haven't had a submission like that for something like this for a while.
I do too as well.
I'll third too.
Oh, okay.
Or is
I
that
also
fourth?
like
Where are
number
we?
2, yeah. I like that stained glass look, I really do.
Yeah.
But I also feel that with that kind of stained glass look, I think it'd be nice if whatever we choose for the other one contrasts that in some way, but also somehow complements
Work
it.
together,
Can we have our
yeah.
cake and eat it too?
Yes.
Would someone like to make a motion for this window number 2? Window number 2, and then whatever art you'd like to.
I'll make a motion for window number 2, option number 2.
All in favor, say aye.
I second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I
Any nays? The ayes have it.
I'm just a little.
Oh, you, oh,
Can I just
I'm sorry.
add one thing?
Sure.
Artistically, it's a beautiful image, but it can also be very disturbing to me too. There's something about it that is harsh. So, you know, we are thinking, there's something very deep about this piece that, to me, that I see in it, that, so I just want to make sure if we pick the other side, that we don't have that, to me, it could have a lot of feelings with this painting, with this piece that can. And that's just my only thought that I have about that. But I like it artistically, but it's a powerful piece, and can bring a lot of emotions. That's all I want to say. And I do like this piece more than the other two, though. So I'm just saying that in terms of, maybe the bunny is a nice idea on the other side. No, seriously.
Focus on the bunny before you walk down the street.
Funny, right? Because I think, people can really get different emotions from this piece. That's all I want to add. But I'd like it.
I'm fascinated that you responded to it that way.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose if you were, saw it in a religious context, you see have the Holy Trinity, you could, read something like that. It just depends on what people see and how it reaches them, I guess.
Yeah.
Or whether, is it really supposed to say something, or
No.
just whatever you feel when you see it?
Well, so technically that went through, but yeah. So thank you for your, comment. So now we will go back to window number 1.
Which I think, you were 3 only right now? Or Xander was a 3 only, that's right. You changed yours to 3 only, okay.
Okay, so number 1, birds. Do they have titles?
Yeah.
Okay. At some point I feel like we could have the titles, or should we not? I don't know. Maybe not.
Get the titles.
Or do we want a motion just to vote on the ones that we are most interested in? Is there any interest in number 1?
I like number 1. I mean, I really like them all. I think to contrast with what we have ostensibly just selected for the other one, I feel like either number 1 or number 3, both having representative images of animals, kind of balances out the abstract and possibly harsher nature of that one. I'm 1 or 3, or 1 or 3.
I could see that too. I do like, 1, how it incorporates nature, and with the trees right next to, there's like a tree right there, they're kind of perching in a way.
This one is called Future Possibilities.
Birds are those supposed to be?
I actually wondered that too.
I think we have them at our house all the time, building nests in the eaves.
What's the...
That one was future possibilities. Okay. And then here's 2 again.
I really like 2. I think it would be a good utility box, because it does give me kind of like the pastel colors, or pastel medium. And I think it would be interesting, square or wrapped.
3. Or does
Going
2
to
have
confuse
a-
anybody, because after Easter,
What'd you say?
I was just thinking of Easter coming up. It maybe is left over from Easter or something.
That's,
Oh,
I think
right.
that's
was.
exactly
You're right.
The
correct.
dragon.
I think it's called Cardinal Rabbit.
I think the colors in that would complement the other one pretty nicely. Softer, so I think
Yeah.
that would be.
Yeah, this is called the Cardinal Rabbit.
Was there a title for this one?
Let me find it.
So much good art. How can we choose?
Would there be a way to save both images from window number 2, option 2, and
Give and take.
the rabbit, to put them side by side to see if we can see how they coordinate?
Maybe this is a PowerPoint. We could maybe just.
We can do that in a second, yeah. Do you want to do that now?
Well, I mean, whenever, we
Yeah, if you
didn't
just
really
want to
talk
move the
about it
slides
before,
next to
but
each
just to
other.
see
Do
what
it
the
better
color, how they
perspective.
color coordinate.
The
or
view
like drag one
slides.
in.
For what, we want to put
Nice.
this next to Bunny? Help at all? Whoa.
Whoopsie.
Changes your perspective a little
Oh,
bit.
Of course that happens.
Like those little puzzles.
Or could you
Move the
copy,
squares
copy the image of the bunny on the window and put it into that other slide?
Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. I'm gonna lose it soon.
Although some people
There.
will,
There you
will-
go.
will be,
Okay,
be driving.
I mean, they're pretty happy with each other.
they are.
I like that.
Yeah.
Lose.
Yeah,
Oops.
it's weird, yeah, because I think the palettes work well together, even though the subject and the materials are very, very different, but the palette works well together.
Not that anything has to match.
No,
Art
no,
can be totally on its own.
they're wanting to
but yeah.
vibe,
Contrast and work together,
yeah.
which is nice and surprising.
Yeah, it
Our
does.
community.
Exactly.
If we were gonna read stuff into it, that's a good, you inspired it.
I think
Anyone
the
wants
pinks
to
and the
make
and the blues from each are really kind of come out.
Yeah, like this little like zippity zip right there.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'll stop.
Technical terms.
Zippity zip?
I haven't used zippity zip since college.
Yes, I have a master's degree, can't you tell?
I mean, my only reservation about the rabbit is that it does kind of seem like it's a little last year just because of the Zodiac thing. But
The rabbit's always part of the zodiac.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah, especially if you were born in the year of the rabbit.
there, so. And also, you know, rabbits are rabbits. They don't necessarily need to be a Zodiac.
This
They're
is
part
true.
of our community, whether we like it or not.
We have lots of,
Yes.
yeah, it's true.
Do we want to do that same thing with some of the other images, put them side by side, and
No, I think these were kind of the ones that were,
so far, no.
Is there any request for that? If not,
We need to? Let's move them around like a game of cards a little bit. Check, or we pretty much decided this is our set? Any final discussion before we put it to a vote?
I think everyone seems to be leaning towards the rabbit. The only devil's advocate on the rabbit is because it is so prominent, will people think that it, like, it's more innocent? I don't know. Or, is there any criticism that we could get from these images, being the images that we select, I guess?
You know, you think about it, that it's a contrast. Abe was there?
yep. Which honestly, I think a lot of people I talk to, they think that was just branding for the mall. They kind of forgot that it was a piece of art, and they just thought, oh, it's Lincoln for Lincoln Square.
Oh, interesting.
Because the artist doesn't even live here anymore. He lives in Florida. Has for quite some time.
As long as they don't change them all to Rabbit Square.
We'll be fine.
Good.
Yeah.
Coming shortly.
Because this comes up a lot in a lot of the juries that we do, like that we do art on the fly out at the airport. You know, we always want it to read art. We don't necessarily want it to read like a commercially purchased thing for branding or promotion. You know, we want people to see it and say, what is that cool piece of art? Not like, oh, look at that, they branded the mall, you know. So I think all these pieces do that, but I think that we always try and pay attention because we want to show off the art itself and not make it blend in any way. Yeah?
I had a question, then I realized I should be the person with the answer to that question.
What is it? You don't want to say?
Like just artists and agreements to their artwork being on the mural on glass, and probably they're submitting their stuff, so that's what it is.
Yep.
Okay.
adding to that question, is it a problem that not all of that painting would be on that glass?
Right.
Because you're cutting off a good third of it.
Yeah, I will, depending on what we decide, I will definitely make sure the artist is good with the cropping.
Yeah.
But we have to do that all the time, like for like the Boneyard Signature artist that we select every year. It's kind of a known agreement that sometimes we can't include the entire piece. We do our best, but sometimes there's going to be something cropped out. And as long as they approve of the cropping, we can move forward. And if they want, even in the description, it can say detail, if they want people to know there's more to this piece, or put a little image of the full piece so people know that there's more to the image. But yeah, we would have them approve of the cropping before we
Okay.
install it.
Is this the same image that was the signature for last year, or is it just the same artist?
Same artist, not the same image at all.
Okay.
The last little question I have is, I'm assuming with the parking lot, the windows, we decided to do half of the windows because it's like balanced and allows for people to see through the windows. Would there be any interest in extending the full artwork to 3 panels?
I guess that might be a parking. I mean, it's got the little P's on there. I don't know.
There
That
might
was a
be
long time ago
reason.
when they approved that, but if it could go further down, it gets a little more blocked there, but
Yeah, they maybe want people to realize they can park there, and coming to downtown, they want to know where to park.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
they
could
might-
be
They
that.
might object, parking district might object to have it taken off.
yeah, I wasn't around for
Pay for
those
them.
initial decision on why it stopped at those 2 windows.
I don't remember I was, but
You were,
I
yeah.
don't think we discussed it, to be honest with you.
Well, we can definitely check with the people who are in charge of the
See
facilities,
what they say?
see what they say. It would definitely change the cost of these windows.
That's true, we did,
Probably by a third increase. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Labor and
Or-
more time, so.
yeah.
But maybe worth asking.
Worth checking
This
to
is
see.
the biggest one? No, it's not the biggest one, but it's definitely the most
Most
visible
visual, yeah.
one. Because whoops, shoot. Oh, now it's
That's all out of
now
order
it's all
now.
out of order. Because
Messed with it.
that would be a square.
Because I do like that the artist included the traditional, I think, is it Korean garb?
Yeah, it's sad to lose some of that robe unless you can
Around here.
leave the moon or the sun and still get a little more of the robe.
Well, sounds like we might need to have a motion made, possibly.
Well, we've already basically done number 2, right? So this is the motion to just make a final decision on the parking garage image. right?
I would make a motion to approve the rabbit for the parking garage.
I'll second that motion.
Further discussion, or can we put it to a vote? All in favor, say aye.
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 Hi.
Aye.
Motion has passed.
Yay!
Tell us who the artists are.
Well, this artist is Eka,
That's what I thought.
or Steampunk Grub, or Anna, all different versions. And then Greg Stahlmeyer is the artist
Oh,
of this
nice.
piece.
Nice.
So I will let them know tomorrow.
I would say that I don't think that our vote does not diminish the quality of the other pieces that were submitted. And
Ooh.
I'd like to see some of the others in other places if possible.
Well, we will highly, I mean, of course, we're going to do more murals on glass in more locations, and then we'll also be doing utility boxes. So they will all be encouraged to submit automatically for all of the other opportunities, for sure.
Are we also doing any more artwork in the bus platforms?
Yes.
Art in transit
Mm-hmm.
Art in transit, yeah.
Yep.
and
Possibly the one next to the courthouse.
'Cause I remember when we installed the one by the Urbana Free
Yep.
Library.
So
Great.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you for your work, Kelly. That's great.
Of course.
Thank you. How are things coming for
Alright.
Boneyard, with your Boneyard plans?
The Boneyard is right around the corner, April 12th through 14th, everyone.
When's the deadline?
March 25th.
All right. Well, I also just wanted to add that at our next meeting, there's going to be a lot more voting happening. So we'll have the final recommendations for the Urbana Arts Grants recipients, as well as portfolios that were submitted for the large market mural. So that will be happening also. So you don't want to miss out on April 9th meeting.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot going on at the end of the
Yes.
semester, for sure.
All right. Thank you. That's it
So
for
is
the
there
staff
any other new
report.
business that was the new business, I guess?
Yes, that was the new business. And in terms of upcoming events, definitely if you can make it out to Ruby's Poet Laureate celebration at the Gallery Art Bar from 6 to 8, that'll be great. And I don't know if anyone else has any events or upcoming workshops or anything you'd like to share. You can definitely do so.
I would just like to share one thing. Vivian, I had heard that tomorrow is your 1-year work anniversary here at the City of Urbana. I just wanted to say thank you for all the work that you do. I don't think that there's many city staff that work outside of the 8 to 5 time slot, but you do, and I think it's just really encouraging to see you at all of the events that you support through the Arts and Culture program, and you're honestly, I think you just really represent the city of Urbana and everything that you do. So thank you so much, and I hope that you have many more years with us and continue to hold up the economic development division, because you are still the only person on that division too. So one day or I guess you're with the market manager as well. So
Brian Heaton at the
Yes,
market, the
thank you.
farmers market coordinator.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're a great ambassador.
Happy anniversary.
Well, if we have no more new business, we have to vote on adjourning today? Because we have a quorum. So then we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy this wonderful weather.
Thank you.